All right, we are back for episode. Oh goodness, what is this? 14?
Episode 14.
Episode 14. I am realizing that my images are a little messed up. We are not talking about Imperial Entanglements right this second. Everybody needs to calm down. There we go. I have turned off everything but what I meant to turn off. Beautiful. All right. I'm a little quiet compared to TGO, apparently. We all know that means we just need to turn TGO down.
At least they're not getting an echo.
You might be, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can't tell, first topic of the day, regional championships. First, before we get into this, welcome back, TGO.
Yeah. It's welcome back to yourself too. It's been a few weeks.
It has we had some stuff going on.
We took a little hiatus.
And we're actually going to be taking a hiatus next week. I'm going to be in the Houston area. Won't be at home for this. But then we will be back, hopefully, for all of June, contingent on what happens with... Are you okay saying? You got some personal stuff going on, so...
Well, I may be finally getting into my new house.
Yes.
So may miss a week somewhere in there in June. Not sure where.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. We'll see. We're gonna play that week by ear, and I'm still not sure what weekend it's gonna be.
So next week we're off, but after that we should be back. It just still kind of unfortunately depends on a few things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, having said all that, welcome back for episode 14 of season 2. We are, by just sheer numbers, we are halfway through regional season, even though we're only 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah.
All right. So,
You gotta love it. You gotta love it how they pack 6 regionals into a single weekend.
So, am I reading odds or are you reading odds?
Well, I guess we start with odds and you read odds. So yeah, that's
All
fine.
right. Number one, how did you do at your regional?
Uh,
Talk to
I
us a little bit about your regional.
I kind of won it.
Kind of.
Kind of. No, I mean I won. I mean I say kind of. I mean it was a 10 person regional. I mean there was me, Nathan Ferraro's a top 16 guy. So there was at least 2 top 16 players there. Outside of that, it was some local guys. Smokey drove up with me,
Oh yeah.
and then there was a group from Champaign, Illinois, I want to say,
Okay.
and yeah, it was pretty fun, despite being just 10 people. I just
No.
went ahead and used my super buy because one other person was using their super buy, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make Chicago or not.
Sure.
So went ahead and used it. It paid off, I guess. So ended up, yeah, like I said, I ended up winning. I didn't lose a game in the top cut. Lost a few in Swiss. I got swept by Nathan in the third round. So like, okay, so I started with the super buy, obviously, and it was a super buy because we weren't using the new tournament software. So I got the super buy. Then I played another guy. I think his name was Dan, and he was one of the Champagne guys. I swept him, and then played Nathan, got swept, and then played a guy by the name of Alan, who was another Champagne player, and we split. His light side beat me, and my light side beat him. He was playing Sleuth Scouts, so I knew that was going to be a bad game for me as soon as I saw Sleuth Scouts.
Sure.
Because I mean the dark side deck I was playing just has probably like a 5% chance of winning. I may be exaggerating a little, but it's a very small chance.
All right.
And then Nathan, I got swept by Nathan Ferraro, and he was playing a Rebel vehicle pilots list, and that thing just rolled me. And I started the game. I thought I was in good shape. I started the game with a first turn Palpatine, and I learned very quickly he's not as good against rebels anymore.
Really?
I was not clued into that fact. I mean, well, he was playing. He started his first turn with I want to say it was two of those new X-wings, the Rogue Squadron X-wings,
Okay.
and he was able to get a pilot on one of them. And I couldn't lock him down because he could just refresh him. He started with hobby.
Okay.
He had a hobby, so he was able to keep doing that, and he was just getting damage here, there, everywhere. It was annoying. He yeah, he rolled me pretty good. I think he won on his third turn. I figured out that three black guns are better than three black tactics against that deck. So that beat me. And then when I played him as the light side, he played a first turn interrogation on me and took my Luke. And the
Yikes.
rest of the game, I was searching for a resource because I just had 5 cost units in my hand. Yeah, it was terrible. And then we get to the top cut, and well, I will say I had one round in my second round. I think I saw like the god draw of all god draws. It was Yoda You Seek Yoda with a speeder bike into a double Wolfman. That was all on turn one.
All right.
And yeah, I
Doesn't
won.
seem bad.
Yeah, it was really good. I killed the Palpatine on the second turn. Because the second turn, I don't think I played any units. I just had a couple of event cards for some tricks, and or maybe I played some little dude. I don't remember, but I ended up killing a Palpatine that second turn. It's pretty funny. I'm sure my opponent didn't think it was funny, but it was fun. And then in the top cut, I played the Allen again, the same guy I played in the last round,
Hmm.
and I beat him again with my light side.
Right. I assume you chose light side.
Yeah, I chose light side, and then Nathan and Smokey played, and Smokey won with his dark side,
It's awesome.
and then I played Smokey, and I had to take dark side, and I proceed to miss on my first turn. I didn't play any units. I just played a resource on my first turn. It's pretty terrible. I think I had an executor in my hand or a Palpatine, something like that. It was an expensive unit and I couldn't play it. It was pretty bad. And then he played, I think, a Yoda or a Ron or a Luke. I'm not sure. He was playing Jedi. So he played a unit with a nudge, and I remember I dark eye or deadly sided the nudge, and I think my next turn. So my second turn, I think I played an executor. Third turn, I played a Vader, and then the following turn after that, I think it was Palpatine, and I ended up winning the game despite missing out my first turn. It was
You've
pretty.
run out of time on your timer.
Man, I have
Um,
rambled for 5 minutes. Good God.
so you only had to play one game in the finals,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
you ended
because
up
of the way
winning.
everything went down when I played that Allen guy again, I got to choose,
Right.
and I chose light side, and I won.
Very cool, man. Well, congrats on the win. Very nicely done.
Thank
I
you.
would congrats you on your super buy, but we're not sure it's going to be so super.
It may or may not be super. I really
Yeah.
don't know yet.
So congrats on your trophy.
Yeah, I got a nice trophy.
Very nice
Got a spot
trophy.
gloss and some tokens
Yep.
that look like candy, and I want to eat them.
So weird.
Yeah.
Topic number 2.
Topic number two. All right. So you had a regional. Was it this past weekend or was it the weekend before?
This past weekend.
It was this past weekend. That's right. That's right. So how did things go for your regional?
Things were great for us. We drove up to Tyler, Texas. We had 19 players, second largest regional so far. There was a handful of people there with super buys, but I was actually the only one that used one. The other guys wanted to save theirs for another event.
Was it super though?
It was, yeah. We weren't using tone. No, there's
Okay.
no reason to use it. Um, and it was fine. I mean, it was just a really long day. It was 70-minute rounds and 5 rounds because there's 19 of us. So we started somewhere between 11:15 and 11:30, and finished the Swiss around 6:30. Gave out prizes, and then right before 7, we took a 30-minute dinner break. Came back at 7. I had a really goofy day. I had a super buy, and then I split my second round. I split my third round. I swept my fourth round, and then split my fifth round. My dark side just decided it didn't like to play the game at all. I really don't have any idea what happened. It wasn't until my third game of the day, so round 4, before I saw one of my 4 force chokes.
Wow.
It was round 4 when a force choke made its first appearance for me.
I hear those are overrated though.
Yeah, I definitely could have used them at some point throughout the first or the second and third rounds.
Yeah.
So it just did horrible, and then I was third seed going in. I got to pick what I wanted to play. I picked the light, and I played a very nice gentleman by the name of Brandon, and he just saw every single possible card he could want to see. I mean, it was great. He played it well too. Don't get me wrong, but I think I sent you a list. It was like 3 twists, 3 heats, 3 force chokes, a force lightning that he recurred, 2 emperors. I killed both, I think. 2 royal guards, a Vader, I mean, it was crazy good. I liked his deck a lot. It definitely did its job, and he played it great. So I had to win out basically, and when your dark side is 1-3 in Swiss and you have to win out, it doesn't leave you feeling too good. I'm not gonna lie. You're kind of just like, what am I supposed to do now? you know?
I knew the feeling. I was one in no, I was 1-2 in Swiss with Darkseid.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But it went on a tear. It went 3-1 in the top cuts. I think it was my lack of carrying attitude that took over. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but when you're up against that kind of a wall, and you already know the deck is so underperforming for the day, you kind of just start making certain decisions that you wouldn't make. Like an opening hand of stuff that you normally wouldn't keep. Whatever, let's keep it and see what happens. That kind of stuff.
yeah.
But so I finished second. I played both games in the finals and lost. That's where the dark side took its first loss in the top cut. Um, and so I took second. My wife took third. We had a great day, lots of fun, and it was just very, very long. We drove up that morning and then had to drive home that night. Well, we didn't have to, but we drove home that night. So there was no deck diversity at our event. I think the winds of California had made their way to Texas, and I think my wife said that she thought she saw somebody on Rebels. I didn't bother to get everybody's deck list and stuff. I mean, there's a 2-week break between Texas events, so I wasn't about ready to ask people for their deck list and stuff like. But she said she thought she saw Rebels. I didn't see it, but it was just everybody was on Jedi. I mean, that's where everybody was. So I think almost every one of my rounds felt like it was the exact same as the previous. Oh, Darth BS, we have a toilet request. We had managed to not talk about toilets. I'll concede my 30 seconds so we can talk about toilets.
I thought we had more self-respect than to talk about toilets and take pictures of them and whatnot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't have to do it.
Just saying.
So it was a long day. We've got another one this coming weekend that we're really looking forward to, and it seemed like there was some pretty good numbers for all the other events, minus Colorado.
Yeah.
But I think that's our topic number 3. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's our third topic.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, the toilet pictures are developing in Spain, according to David.
Yeah, I saw that. Good
And
old. See, you see what he managed to do there? He managed to take the bathroom and the Spain joke and merge it into one.
He did. Darth BS said toilet
Quality.
jokes will never die. I would have gone with toilet jokes will never be flushed.
That was bad.
It's a dad
Topic
joke.
number 3. Moving on.
All right.
Man.
Topic 3 is regional attendance. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on regional attendance thus far?
You know, outside of the Fort Collins numbers, I wasn't too surprised by them, really. I mean, they're not terrible, they're not great. I mean, I just think they're just kind of somewhere in between. But that Fort Collins number was bad. For those that don't know, they only got 3 for their regional.
I just want to interject here. No matter what happened that weekend, it would have been bad, right? Like the only Colorado event last weekend only had 9, or last year only had 9 people.
Yeah.
And here, the Colorado event was falling on a day of 5 other regionals throughout the U.S. There
Yeah.
is just no way attendance was going to be very high at that event.
Yeah, but does that really matter? I mean, that there was 5 others because really the only one that was close was Arizona.
Well, sure. Like I went to Colorado last year. I might have gone this year. Javier went to Colorado last year. I don't know if he was at the Chicago event, but I assume he was because he lives there.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. So I mean, that's already almost 1/3. It's between 1/3 and 1/5 of the attendance from the
Yeah.
previous year. So yeah, I definitely think that affects it. Plus,
I mean,
we've
either
got-
way, it's pretty bad. 3 is
Yeah.
pretty bad.
So
But I mean,
you
we've
had
had
done some numbers. What was the average last year?
the average last year was 21.
But now this year they've added 9 events, so we can assume that the total attendance will go down.
No, the average will go down. We're
Yeah,
assuming the average will go down. The total should go up.
That's right. That's right. And so
The total last year was 318 for all the
and
events.
what's the average this year?
With Fort Collins, the average is just a little under 14. Without it, we were a little over 15.
Okay.
And the total so far is 152. So we're already halfway, or a little. We got 13 events left, and we're at 152 total, and we're not really looking like we're on a good pace here.
But see, I honestly think we're in a good place because, last year we had 15 events. This year we have 24. They've almost doubled the number of events. So
Right.
you've got to assume attendance is going to be pretty down. And
Well,
honestly,
the per event average should be down, but right now, if you look at our total, 152 for 11 events, and we've got 13 more to go. We may not have more than 318. We may just have the same or less.
yeah. It was Jersey last year that had the big one, right? 41 or 46 or something.
New Jersey, where's that one at? They had 34. That was the high last year. It was 34.
No, that can't be right. I know the one that Scotty played at had 40 some people.
34 that came from Scotty himself. All my numbers were confirmed from people that were at the event and posted results.
Hmm.
And the 34 came from Scotty himself. I reached out to him, and he told me 34.
No way, Nooners. I like to waste energy. Nooners pointed out that I'm still logged into my PS4, apparently. I think it's been logged in since Tuesday.
Nice.
So, I might have been gaming with Nooners this week. So, that number doesn't seem right to me. 34, I really think it's in the 40s. I'd have to go back and look. But either way, I think that there's still not that great a disparity between the two numbers. And I think anytime you add almost twice the number of events, you're just going to have smaller turnouts.
Right. I'm not disputing the turnout point.
Sure.
My point will be this season's going to be judged by the total, and if the total is less than last year, that's not good.
Well, we always want to add players, We
Yeah.
always hope to increase players. I have definitely seen a whole bunch of people playing that I didn't see before. You know, we were at 19 at Tyler. We were down from 31 the year previous. But of these 19 people that were there, I'm pretty confident at least 10 of them I had never seen before.
Yeah.
Or hadn't seen playing within, you know, the last 8 months or so.
I mean,
So
that's good, and I know the Tulsa guys didn't come down, so you lost some there, and El Raytheon didn't go, so
right.
there's another one. But
My point is, like, I think we're getting new players. I think the game's having a hard time retaining players.
yeah, I mean, I guess the bottom line is we need to wait and see what the total number looks like when it's all said and done. Because right now, I don't think it's looking great. I
Well,
mean, it's
I don't
not
know.
terrible yet. It's not bad yet. I just don't think it's, you know,
I mean, with the double elimination rounds taking so long, like, I'm really glad that I'm not attending, you know, 30 plus people events. I wouldn't want to play 6 rounds of this and cut the top 8. That would just be too much for me.
yeah.
I have a breaking point. All right, topic number 4.
Yeah. Topic number 4, we had the some information about the World Championships weekend announced the other day.
Oh yeah,
I think it was Monday they announced it.
oh yeah, worlds. I'm excited. I don't know about
Still,
you.
it's still in Minnesota and it's still in November.
It's still at Hoth.
Yeah, it's still on Planet Hoth.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just kind of discuss everything that because they dropped like a ridiculously detailed article on us on
Yeah,
Monday or Tuesday.
they did.
Yeah, and quite a bit of stuff. Number one was that they've listened to a lot of people's suggestions, and everybody who registers gets a like they call it. I think they even referred to it as a swag bag.
Swag bag.
It will have a T-shirt. A lot of people were upset about the lack of T-shirt last year, and then it'll have promo cards from all the different games.
And a
One
deck
promo
box.
for each of the different games.
Don't
And
forget the deck box.
yeah, in the deck box. I don't. They're really hyping up this deck box, but for Star Wars, it's kind of a pretty poopy deck box because it only holds one deck, and you got to show up with 2.
So
So
try to get a second one.
so anyway, but it's the gesture. It's the nice. I mean, I think for the
Right. I
other
mean,
games.
you can't say
Well,
it's
no,
poopy. I
Netrunner you
mean,
need
it's
2 also, right? Yeah,
in which one? Netrunner.
Netrunner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you
See,
only need 1 in Conquest, right?
I also play Conquest, so I'm good with that.
Yeah,
One deck and I'm good to go.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm gonna play the new Game of Thrones. I'm sure that's just one deck. So
Yep. Okay, so you get all that stuff, which is really cool. You get 2 promos as long as you stay to the end of your event, which I think is pretty cool.
yeah,
And then they released the schedule. It starts on a Wednesday this year. A lot of people kind of wigged out about the schedule. I think, it's a nearly impossible event to schedule, and I thought the event schedule was awesome. Like I thought it made total sense.
yeah. I mean, they're doing what, like 10 games over the weekend, so there's gonna
Yeah.
be some overlap. I mean, I'm being sarcastic with the 10. I know it's a lot. Um, I mean, I'm a little disappointed in the schedule because I play Conquest and I can't play Conquest if I make top 16. So
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of disappointing, but I'll live with it. I'm not like up in arms over it or anything like that. It's just I understand that they've got limitations, and not everybody's going to be happy. You're not going to get to play everything you want to play. The upside
yeah,
is that if I still played X-wing, I could play X-wing on Wednesday, assuming I was arriving on Wednesday, you know,
sure.
or arriving in time to play Wednesday morning, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was great that like some people complained like, oh, but X Wing's on Wednesday and then the championship isn't until Sunday. I was like, that's great. They picked one of their like most attended events and they made it the easiest to attend. You know, like yeah, you got to show up on a Wednesday to play, but I mean, it doesn't conflict with anything. There's nothing else to my knowledge really on that day, I don't believe. So
Game of Thrones draft world championship.
that's right. That's right. But I mean, I assume that most of the LCG players, and I said most, not all, but most of the LCG players that are, or most of the X-wing players maybe aren't exactly LCG players. And again, I'm talking most.
It doesn't seem like X-Wing and a Game of Thrones have a whole lot of overlap.
Right, right. They have some, we're certain, but not a whole lot. And
Right.
then I thought that having the only Star Wars conflict is Armada and the LCG, and I thought, hats off to that. Like that's also something that's hard to schedule around, and I think Armada is a tough game. It's a very strat based game, and it's a very detailed game, and it's very expensive as well. So I'm certain that there's players that play it that play the LCG, but I also think most of the players that play the LCG probably don't play Armada.
Yeah, I don't play Armada, so
But yeah, no, I thought schedule was great. The cost, as Josh mentioned there in the chat, the cost is a bit of a Debbie Downer. It's going to be a bit of a hard sell for certain people to justify multiple events, not just at Worlds, but also at like different conventions. Like having to pay for Gen Con and now looking at possibly $90 for Worlds. It's a little pricey. There's an article up on Flip if you haven't seen the World stuff. There's a crazy big article on FFG about it as well.
I mean, if you only play one game, it's just $60.
Just 60.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's the first year I went, my entry was free. Last year, what was it, 40?
Last year was 50.
Oh, it was
The year
50
before
last year.
that was 25. So it's
Yeah,
definitely
but
gone up every year.
it was free to anybody that won a regional,
Yeah.
and they were handing out regional wins like candy, so I assumed everybody was free. But I mean, the $60, yeah, it's an increase, but at the same time, you're also getting all those promos. You're getting a T-shirt, a deck box. So
Before we move on, we didn't talk about the caps, and I think that's important. You can only register online, and there's X number of seats.
and I
possible.
believe they said you can't register there.
Yeah, you can't do that at all, which makes total sense. The amount of money that they were having to spend on employees just to do registration at the door, I'm sure there was no way they could justify that expense.
Yeah, and they are holding seats for regional winners, which is good.
Yeah. So the total attendance to the whole thing is capped, and that's kind of significant. In the video that Steve Horvath talked about, their total attendance has gone up every year, and I think he said last year was 600 and something. So I'm assuming they're going to cap Worlds at like 800.
Do you think they're capping it at how much? 800?
Yeah, based on his comments that last year was at 600 something.
It's possible. I mean, it'd be nice to know what the cap is. I mean, not that it really matters much, but it'd be nice to know.
And then each event is capped as well, and I believe each event is going to be capped. I'm going to guess like Netrunner and X-Wing are a little higher. I'm guessing they're, well, no, he said, didn't he, that it's X-Wing is like 200 and something, and I'm guessing Netrunner will probably be either 200 and something or like 180 something. I'm guessing ours will be 128. I'm guessing Imperial Assault and Armada will be 128.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, but we can
They
go on to
could
the next topic.
they could probably cap us at 100 and we'd still be fine.
Before we well, yeah. Before we do, Nooner says they're holding a seat for me. Yes, Nooners. First of all, congratulations on the win, regional champion. Do we have to call him Champ Nooners now?
No.
Okay, just curious. And yes, they did say. I don't know if you're aware, if you're just pointing out that you have a seat, but yes, regional winners do get to reserve their entry like a week early. I think does that sound right?
Something like that. Yeah, you have to email them though to let them
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
But you have until I forget what
June
date.
8th, I think, or something like that.
I thought it was longer than that.
All right, we'll go to the next topic here. Topic number 5. We're going to discuss the video that Team Covenant did with Steve Horvath. Horvath? I'm probably pronouncing that Horvath.
Horvath.
Yeah. And I'll let you kick this one off.
I mean, I think it's pretty cool that they did that. I mean, regardless of who they interviewed with, I think it's pretty amazing that he took the time out of his schedule to make this announcement or do this interview. I mean, it really shows that they're trying to improve their communication, which is something they said they were going to try to do. So I mean, I would like to just, in case any of them listen, at least give him credit where credit is due on that. Um, some of the stuff in there is kind of a little vague, but some of it I'm pretty happy about. I mean, he did say that top 16 was going to return to what we expected, which to me I took it as top 16 playmats are back.
I didn't take it that way, but
We can hope.
yeah, fingers crossed.
And he did say they were actually going to announce the prizes this year.
Yes, I think the events start November 4th, so we'll probably know November 3rd.
Let's hope
I keyed.
let's hope it's a little bit sooner than that.
Well, no matter when it is, Spain will tell us before FFG will. So
Spain already knows. Spain's had them for 6 weeks now.
all right, so he gave us a bunch of info. There really was a bunch of info, but there was also a lot of like gray area discussion too, where we didn't really get yeses, We got a lot of, well, I can't really discuss that just yet.
Yeah.
But no matter what, it was really nice to see FFG at least opening their doors a little bit up to the public and saying, hey, here's some ideas of what we have going on.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite moment that they discussed? Anything particular that really stood out to you other than the top 16?
I watched the video
discussion?
while I was at work the other day.
Uh-huh.
So I watched that 38-minute video over the span of like an 8-hour shift at work. So I really only remember a few things from it. I do know, I remember he was talking about the judge program and how they're trying to get that right, and it's still in the works.
Sure.
I'm anxious to see more about that or hear more about that. You know?
It reminded me a lot of their State of the Union, where there's a lot of information, there's a lot to take in. We're being told stuff that we might not have known, we're being confirmed with things we wanted confirmed. But then there's a whole lot of like, well, it's kind of like dangling that carrot in front of us, like,
Yeah.
we'd really like to know more soon, but these kind of gestures, like you said, they are super appreciative. And we understand that they can't always be up front. And, I'm certain he can't tell us during that interview what the prize support's going to be, because it would take the air out of their article when they post that,
Right. I mean, the one thing I do remember from the video that I was disappointed in was, I mean, I wouldn't say disappointed, but he confirmed our suspicions that FFG is more for the casual tournament player than the like super competitive people, because they're the prize structures. He's trying. I believe he said something about he's trying. They're never going to do cash or money. Big items like that.
Yeah, he specifically said that they aren't going to look at anything that has some sort of great monetary reward, because then you're playing for money and then it's a job and not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know that he has a firm grasp on the player base. The player base I know would really like to compete for some really awesome, really valuable prizes. But
I got to tell you, a trip to Disneyland to go see Lucas their stuff there, that would be a great prize. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there, FFG. You guys are in cahoots with Disney now and Lucas. Come on, let's make it happen.
Josh says, why is FFG talking about Worlds when we don't even know Gen Con prizes? And that's obvious. Gen Con prizes are the surprise this year.
Only top 4 get playmats at Gen Con. And that's just a joke. I really don't know if that's true. So before anybody blows up about that, I'm just joking.
No, we'll take any information they give us. And I'm pretty sure the Worlds is being covered first because they want to give everybody ample time to be ready. for the
Especially too
massive
when that's
changes.
like that's the crown jewel, that's the event of the year for them,
Right, the amount of money they make off of Worlds compared to Nationals, it's quite different.
Yeah, I would think they'd want to get as much information out about that as early as possible.
Yeah,
Like we know when
David.
Gen Con is every year because Gen Con is always putting out the dates, so we can usually guess when our tournament's going to be, whereas like them, it's usually the first week of November, but you never know exactly where.
Champ David threw out a great line here. He says, "So they only give stuff to the top X players, but
There was no
not."
X in there, just top players.
Well, I'm just clarifying for the viewers, listeners, whatnot. But it's not that great. What I take that to mean from David is that he's pointing out that it's not all about competition. It's more about just having fun. But the price support's only for the top cut. Is that? I assume that's what he's trying to get at there. Anyway, we can go on to topic number. Are we on 6?
Yeah. Speaking of Gen Con,
Speaking of Gen Con, it's amazing how these things all tie into each other.
the date we know the date.
We
I
do.
feel like I feel like FFG or Gen Con should send out like save the date announcements, like a wedding, No. So our event is on a Thursday. Surprise, surprise.
I like our events on Thursdays. I like our events on Thursdays because it gives us time to do other things at Gen
Yeah.
Con. That I mean, like Saturday and Sunday are typically, and even like Friday evening are typically the biggest days of Gen Con. And I like knowing that we can get our event out of the way and do other stuff at Gen Con.
I agree.
Worlds, I'd probably prefer Friday or I'd probably prefer Friday or Saturday. But also, flights are cheaper during the week. If I wanted to fly in on a Friday, it's going to cost me more money. Just saying.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right. So we know it's on a Thursday, and it's Thursday the 30th. Is that right?
I'm
Yeah.
not sure the exact date.
Yeah. Thursday, July 30th.
And doesn't it start at like 10 a.m. or something like that?
Um, it might.
Or
Give him a.
registration starts at 10 a.m., I believe.
Yeah. Make sure to bring a deck list because if it's anything like last year, they won't have printed off any for you. And prepare for. I mean, I don't know. We've had 2 regional seasons that have followed the exact number of rounds, so and the scoring system changed.
So we
Last year, I
should.
think they did 6 rounds at Gen Con for some reason. So
I thought they did 7. I thought it was something ridiculous.
I can't. It was such a long. I know we didn't get dinner until what, like 11:30 that night, because we recorded at like midnight.
Yeah, we recorded late.
Yeah. Josh pointed out there's no 2 versus 2 at Gen Con, which isn't too surprising. The the attendance for those are always pretty minimal.
I think there was only like 5 teams last year or
Yeah.
something.
And it's like an all day thing, and to have their employees tied up as judges for that long for just such a small event, it's just kind of I get why they wouldn't want to do that.
Well, they didn't do the flights this year for their other games like X-Wing and Netrunner. They're
Oh,
just
and they're not
doing
doing it at Worlds either. It's so good.
well, right, but they're going to need more people for those bigger tournaments, I would
That's
imagine. So
true.
they
Did
may not
they?
they may not have the staff available to run these other smaller events.
Did they change the cap then for X-wing and Netrunner?
Oh, it was something like 200 and some people.
Nice.
It was a lot. I know that.
I mean, my guess would be 256. It's 128 doubled, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was a lot, and I'm pretty sure it's already at least X-Wing I think is already sold out.
yeah, it's their big one. Makes sense. I'm excited for Gen Con. We should know the price support here in like what 3 weeks, I think, if that. I mean,
Oh, for Gen Con?
yeah, because it's so early this year compared to other years. It's like 2 weeks early.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks early.
So I'm assuming we'll know it here sometime like beginning or middle of June. Pretty excited about that. I think I wasn't a big fan of Yoda, but I was a giant fan of the Emperor. So, I'm excited to see what they do this year. I know people hated the Piet map, but I kind of dug it. So,
X-Wing was capped at 200 people.
oh, 200. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess at 256 you're sitting at a really long day. But all right. So you should be at Gen Con, right? You're still trying to work that out.
And net runners capped at 240. Yeah, I'm still trying to work out Gen Con. My schedule's changed, and I work Wednesday nights. I don't get out till 11, and the tournament is Thursday at 10 or 11 a.m. Indy's an hour ahead of me because I'm in Central, they're in Eastern, which is silly because we're in the same darn state. Anyway, I would need to leave. I would need to leave my house at like 6:30 in the morning and to make it there in time. And I don't know. I'm planning on going. It's still kind of up in the air a little bit. I've got to make a decision soon though,
Right on.
because in order for me to go, I have to have my badge and my event tickets mailed to me because I won't
Yeah.
have the time to get there, wait in line, and then make the event.
We've got our tickets. We're signed up for our events, and we've already got our hotel and airfare all figured out too. So we're getting excited. We get to go see our family that year or that time. So our family's like a couple hours out. So it's a good time for us.
Yeah, I enjoy Gen Con. It's just this year is goofy. Worst case, if I do go, I just won't be able to. I'll still be able to go. I just won't be able to play in the event because I still want to go to buy some stuff. So
All right. Topic number 7.
we're on 7 already.
Evasive maneuvers has proved to be quite evasive.
Yeah, I don't understand how we got a delay mid-cycle. I mean, they told us at Worlds during their whatever they called that meeting or announcement or whatever, they said they get the whole cycle shipped to them at once.
Yeah.
And now we have a delay.
The
I
weird
mean,
part for me though is they sent out spoilers. Like, if there was a delay, why was like? I just don't. I don't know what I can and can't say here, but I just I don't get why cards were spoiled and then all of a sudden, oops, we can't actually release this just yet.
yeah, I mean, to be fair though, we did get like the first 2 packs in the span of like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean, is this really delayed kind of thing? I mean, I guess, but the fact that we got 2 packs in such a short amount of time, I
So
don't know.
you're saying that that's the counterbalance?
I mean, I'm okay with it being later than the other ones. I mean, I'm all for getting new cards. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have them, but I think this pack being late is not the end of the world.
So let's see. The first pack was March 18th, and then the second pack was April 1st. So we haven't had a
Wow,
pack.
it's been that long.
Yeah.
I thought the second pack came out a little bit later in April.
The latest it could have been was April 8th, but I'm like 99% certain it was April 1st because I know for certain the pack was the 18th because I moved on the 14th and I picked up the new cards that Wednesday. And I think it was only 2 weeks between the packs, which would put it at April 1st.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, draw their
That I think
fires.
is kind of the sting because I get what you're saying that like we did have 2 packs really rushed, so it's really not that bad. But let's I think you can look at this a different way, right? The last pack of the Echo Cycle was on sale at Gen Con, which would have been April or August 15th, right? So we are going on 10 months of the year, and the only things that have come out are BTS and 2 packs of this cycle.
Yeah, but that's par for the course, though, I would say. I'm not
I had a
defending it,
good
but
friend that was talking to me the other day, and he said, I haven't been able to play for the last year. He said, you've got to tell me like how much money am I going to be out to buy back in because I haven't played. Like I haven't played in so long. And I was like, well, what was the last thing you bought? and he said, and I can't remember the name of that box, Darkness and Light, maybe.
The
I
last
know that's
pack
the
of
name of it.
of the Echo Cycle.
Yeah, whatever that box was.
Yeah, I think it was Darkness and Light.
And I was like, oh, you need to buy the box set, which is a one of, and you need to buy 2 packs. So
$60.
50 to
Worst
60
case.
bucks. Yeah, yeah. And he was like, really? And I was like,
It's
yes.
Star Wars, man. We get like 2 packs a year.
Yeah.
Sorry, we get 6 packs and a deluxe a year.
David says, but they totally think that they will ever get to a point of rotating cards out of their games. It's a good point. It is a good point. In 10 months, we have had three things to purchase.
I mean, eventually, when I retire, this game might rotate.
Like, it's such an interesting aspect, right? Because, number one, they're kind of defeating their own title of the product. Is this really a living card game? Or is this like a hibernating card game?
I was gonna say a stagnant card game, but
Yeah, like I thought when I first kind of signed on to the deal, when I first got involved, the way it was explained to me is they don't release all the cards at once; they release it over time. So every month you've kind of got something new to dive into, and that has never been the case for this
see,
game.
whoever told you that failed to mention that you have to play 4 other games to achieve that once a month you get new cards. Because this month is new cards for this game, next month is new cards for that game, and so on and so on.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were discussing before, that we're getting a bunch of new players. It's the retention that is the problem.
Yeah.
And I really think delays like this, when you go 2 full months with no product to enjoy, I really think that is very detrimental to keeping players interested in your product.
Yeah. I mean, players are drawn to it because it's Star Wars,
Yeah.
but then they're pushed away from it because, well, it's Star Wars and there's delays involved with Star Wars, apparently.
Yeah. Josh says Lord of the Rings has had twice the number of releases in about the same time frame the past year. That's not good.
So, I mean, is that like a Lucas problem or is that just a Fantasy Flight problem? I mean, I don't know.
Whatever it is, I would just hope that they get it fixed real
Right?
soon. Real soon. It's you can only blame Doc Strikes for so long. You could only blame LucasArts for so long. It's just get it fixed. Whatever the issue is, whatever the hang up is, it kills me to see people quit the game because of lack of interest. It's
Yeah.
just sad.
Well,
Anyway.
FYI, March 20th was Ready for Takeoff. April 9th was Draw Their Fire.
So it was the 8th then. Okay, so it was 3 weeks. Interesting. All right. Did you go back and Google their shipping now notifications or?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And and remember the dates that they give you are the end of the week. Like some
It's the
places
Friday
don't-
when they
yeah.
officially change it to available now, blah, blah, blah. Stores usually get it. Some stores get it Tuesday, some get it Wednesday. If you're, shopping at my store, you get it the following Monday,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're lucky.
Man, I really thought it was only 2 weeks. I really thought it went shipping like the very next week. All right. Topic
Topic
number 7, 8.
Eight.
Topic number 8.
All right, these are your words, not mine. Is Brown broken? Discuss its strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely not. Its strengths are all the brown cards. Its weaknesses are all the neutral ones.
Some of the neutral ones. Because, that speeder bike is neutral. And that's clearly not one of their problem cards.
No, I'm just being silly. No, we get into a lot of these discussions. We see a lot of these discussions online, and it's a little comical. Like, let's start at the beginning, right? Like, when Brown started to get out of control would be "May the Force be with you," right? But there's nothing broken about May the Force be with you. Like even pre-errata, there's nothing broken about it. Is it obnoxious and are all the cards really great? Yes, absolutely. But yeah, sorry if you guys are hearing that Google Hangout thing kick in. It's kind of annoying. But nothing that those cards do break the game. You know, you're not getting guys with 5 damage icons and 4 health and elite for free. You know, that's not occurring. What you're getting is very potent units that are very hard to kill and you have to have answers for.
Right.
If the dark side had actual answers to things, if the dark side hadn't taken a bath during all of the Echo cycle, May the Force be with you wouldn't be that bad. And then we have BTS, which gave us speeder bikes and BTS Yoda, right?
Yep.
And white knobby spiders. And all of those things are amazing. They're so good. And then we've got Shizor, that instead of having an actual resource, has a living resource. And instead of having a fate card or a capture card with Boba Fett, we have Entangled. You know, it's that the dark side just isn't being given the tools it needs to win. And so we do have a crazy lopsided situation going on, but it's not a form of brokenness. There's a big difference. But that's my take. What's your take?
I don't feel they're broken. I feel like some of their cards are borderline unhealthy, is the word I would say. You know, at times I feel like the dark side, and I'm probably going to screw up my Monty Python reference here because I've only seen the movie like once, but it feels like the dark side is like that Black Knight. I believe it's the Black Knight at that bridge, and the light side is the other knight, and he just keeps hacking off limbs. You know, and the dark side's like, "Come on, I'll still fight you." You know, blah blah blah.
Right.
I feel like that's the dark side right now. They are without arms and legs.
Well,
They're just a stump in a head talking trash right now, and they can win games. The dark side can win games.
yeah.
I just feel like they're just handicapped sometimes. I feel.
Yeah, see, like I was gonna say, like I don't feel like it's impossible to win as the dark side. And when you describe somebody that has no arms and legs, I find that impossible to win, right?
Well,
Like,
okay.
They have bites, you know. They
Yeah.
just it's a very small bite, you know, and they're much more bark. But you know, it's possible to win as the dark side. It's just like you have to work so hard for those wins. The light side is like I told you in private conversation, you know, during my regional, I lost the game because a guy was able to go double white knobby spider, Yoda you seek Yoda, into BTS Yoda, lock out your board for good, you know?
Yeah.
And then commit it to the Force and refresh him with May the Force be with you. I mean, that's the dark side will never have a turn that good in this environment. It's just not like the closest they can come is like a holocron into an executor and then still having resource up for like 2 ISB liaisons and maybe a third resource for aggression. That's like as close as Darkseid can come to that good of a turn.
Right.
And-
No, I mean, when Lightside can drop a speeder bike, a BTS Yoda, and get 2 Wolfmans out, they're and the dark side's like, I played a Kuwait security team and a dark side apprentice. Yay me! You know, it's like
yeah, man. I love the power creep from Echoes. I'm perfectly okay with the power creep from Echoes, but there's just no denying that there was not an equal power creep.
right.
Now, if there had been an equal power creep, Devastating Sith and some form of Darkseid still would have been dominant. So we needed a skewed power creep for sure, but we needed a fair power creep instead of just a completely one-sided power creep.
Well, I don't think was the start of obviously the start of the problem was Echoes. Is that
Yeah, that's what
Lightside just took off in Echoes and Darkside just kind of stayed still. You know, and that's where the wheels kind of started to fall off, and BTS just let the other ones fall off.
And before we go on,
Unfortunately.
I want to point out a couple things. Darkseid would not be having all these troubles if there was a tie break that Darkseid could play for. I'm not saying what that tie break should be. I'm just saying that in the previous environment, at least when you knew what the monster in the room was, and that was freeloaders and dash, you could build towards to fight against losing the tiebreak. You were still going to lose the game. I think every single Darkside player last year had a pretty good idea during the dark period that they were going to lose as the dark side. But I think everybody showed up with crazy, weird, out of control dark decks just to try to lose slower than their opponent's dark side deck would lose. I don't think that's the correct tiebreak, right? But at least you have A, deck diversity, and at least you have B, something to do as the dark side. Right now, as a dark side player, you have to know you have a 50% chance of losing every single game you sit down in. And it almost creates an environment, in my opinion, that it doesn't, as long as you bring a deck that can win 50% of the time, it doesn't even matter what the deck is. It doesn't even matter if the deck's considered good or not. You can just hope to try to win with it 50% of the time, and you're fine.
50% of the time, it wins all the time.
And yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say I know you don't like these tournament rules. I don't ever want to see us go back to the old tiebreaker rules.
The old tiebreakers were horrible. They're garbage. Never do that again. A tiebreaker is 100% needed, and I'm really rooting. I would like to see us go back to a best 2 out of 3 in the top. I said go back. I think I tried to say I would like to see a best 2 out of 3 in the top instead of just a single game.
Yeah.
Before we go on, one last thing, as I say that, somebody, I think it was Matt Brown, pointed out, or maybe it was Josh. No, it was Josh. Josh pointed out with the double limb, you see more people of the top 16, which is neat. And that is very true. I hadn't thought really that much about that point, but that is a very, very true point. You can potentially see more people than you would have normally. And I think that is a really neat aspect of the double limb. I think that's the only neat aspect of double limb, but that's a chat for another day, right?
Yeah.
I got fired up, man. All right,
You did. Like I barely got anything in on that one, so
I know.
Just fine.
It's like topic 1 all over again.
But to be fair, you had your own topic in topic 2, so just saying.
This is true.
It balanced out.
Yeah, let me let's see if I fixed this right. I did. Okay, topic number 9.
Yep.
Oh wait, I'm reading this. Whoops. Okay.
Yeah. What are you doing?
All right. Oh boy, the sparks are gonna fly.
Probably more on your end.
What?
But...
No way.
No.
Rules being broken by FFG. And what this topic is actually about is the Tome software changes the rules that were sent out as part of the regional kits. And what does the buy being not so super actually represent?
It represents an incentive to not care about super buys. I mean, I thought the whole point of the super buy was to give people an incentive to go to their tournaments and earn them. But now, my buy. So I got a quote unquote super buy for nationals. My buy is now, assuming that FFG uses their own software, which I have to assume they will. All bets are off, though. I never know. But so now my buy that I earned from winning a regional is now the same as random guy that gets the first round buy because we have 105 people, or maybe we only have 65 people. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so now our buys are the same. I earned mine. I traveled to get mine. I worked hard for mine. He just got it out of luck, and now I'm just the same. That's cool.
Hold on. Before we get too much further in, I want to point out a couple things. Number one, I think it's awesome that they have a fully functioning, well, functioning is relative, tournament software that is, I believe it's internet-based. Is that right?
I think so.
I think you sign in and use it online. I don't know. I've never used it myself. But however it's distributed, however it's run, I think it's awesome that that's a step that they've taken. We're 2 years into the game. It took a long time to get here. It's awesome that we're here, right? Number 2 on the props list is they have kind of like it's somewhat awkwardly because it's really kind of hard to explain, but they have fixed the problem of people getting a random bye and being at a disadvantage during the tournament.
Oh yeah, that's fine. But now that the super buys are just the same, it's kind of
No.
disappointing.
Like, it's more than fine. Congrats to them. They've figured out. It's confusing. It's awkward. It's not pretty, but they've done it right. They've got a way to do it. The issue is if they could put that into the software, why couldn't they put into the software a way to represent a super buy?
I've I've got to say it's because it's FFG.
So for those people who don't know, in the current home software, if you the way that pairs buys is or the way it handles buys is all the same. And if you have a buy, whether it was random or awarded, it's all the same. And in a year when they took away a reason to play multiple store championships, they've also now taken away a reason to win store championships.
Yep. Or win a regional.
Yeah, I see Josh has said you can go shopping during Thursday for the Gen Con buy. I'd rather play the game. You know, that's what I came for. Like if you'll give me a super buy, so my seed points are higher than everybody else's, awesome. You know, I would like that very much. But if you're not going to give that to me, I'd rather just play.
Yeah. I'd rather just take my chances. I mean, your first round opponents are it's probably going to be your easiest.
Right.
You know, because it's all random.
It's all random. It's all random, but
Yeah, but you got a
easier
higher,
than
you got
later
a higher
in the day.
probability.
For
You got
sure.
a higher probability of it being an easier opponent in the first round than you do as the event goes on. Because
But that could hurt your
assuming
strength of
assuming
schedule.
you're a good player, well, yeah, it could hurt your standings, but whatever. I mean, if you're a good player, you're going to keep winning. You're going to keep moving up in the bracket or whatever you want to call it. Now there's like it just blows my mind that they would just and the fact that they changed this and it was just kind of like snuck in the back door.
Yeah, they didn't tell anybody except for the TOs. That's
Yeah.
the crazy part. So if you're FFG, if you're listening, please, dear God, have someone that's operating your software to put in a way to handle super buys or do away with super buys as a reward and do something else instead.
Yeah.
But don't implement it during the middle of regional season without any sort of notice or attention or any other aspect being drawn to it.
Well, they
other
didn't
than just-
implement this in the middle. I mean, this was they implemented it at the start of regional season with this software.
That's true. That's true.
But the fact that they implemented it and then their tournament kit information says, or the regional kit information says the super buy is worth full strength of schedule, but the
Yeah.
software does it this way is just mind-blowingly horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's turned into a very big game of everybody gets a trophy, everybody wins. And it's kind of weird because they say that they're not really about competitive play, but then they do all this stuff for competitive play. But then in doing all this stuff for competitive play, they've now taken process in the last 6 months now to remove competitive aspects of competitive play, which I mean, it's just I don't understand any of it. You know, none of it makes any sort of sense to me. They holding regionals instead of states, right? You're gonna have to travel a lot further for a regional than you would a state event, right? So the cost of money that it's going to take you to travel for a regional event is going to be up there. But for traveling, the rewards are now minute. You know, it just none of it makes any sense. I just really hope they figure some stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, their playmats say champion, so everybody's a champion this season.
Well, yeah, that's not a topic that we're going to discuss. Final topic. I think people are getting tired of us yelling.
Yeah, this cast has turned into a rant fest.
It got ugly quick.
It escalated quickly. All right, topic number 10. Imperial Entanglement was
Yeah.
spoiled
It was.
or announced.
It was.
And it was announced, I think, the week that we went on hiatus,
Yeah, I think so.
April 28th.
Yeah.
So we're going to discuss Tarkin's set. Good old Tarkin.
What are your thoughts on Tarkin's set?
I like it. Think it's a pretty good set. What are your thoughts?
I mean, between his set and Thrawn, I'm excited to see where the game goes. Your child is also very excited to see where the game goes.
You like that? Yeah, she's getting a little fussy.
Aw. It was all the yelling.
I think she's hungry.
Do we have 4 minutes, or do you need to cut it?
If you can put up with the baby noise.
Oh, I'm fine, sir. So I like the set. I'm really excited to see how Imperials end up here in another 2 years.
I
How
really
about
hope David's not saying NyQuil will stop that. I really hope he's not referring to the baby. You can't give a baby NyQuil. That's bad. That's just bad parenting.
if you don't know this, David is a horrible person.
Yeah. All right, so proceed.
Well,
Sorry.
I had proceeded. I was just saying it'll be interesting to see where Navy goes after this. But what's your take on the set? I think you're a fan of it, from what I
I'm a
read.
big fan of the set. I mean, the objective, I mean it's kind of pushing you to mono Navy because I mean it requires three or more Navy objectives and it's Navy affiliation only. But I mean, when it's on, you're kind of forcing them to, you're able to protect your best objective, or you're forcing them to keep two resources open to in order to attack something, you know. And in two of those in play, they're kind of restricted to one attack per turn.
Yeah.
Obviously, unless they're saving resources, in which case that's good for you because they're not playing more units. So
Yeah.
I like the objective. I like Tarkin.
It definitely seems like a better Tarkin set than last one, right?
He is much better than the last one. Yes, I mean
Yeah.
the ability to just blank a card for one resource is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden BTS Yoda is just got a blast and a gun. You know,
Yeah.
so that's something. You know,
Yeah.
I think the Stormtrooper assault team is like I compare it to it's like a Navy Force Lightning. I mean, granted, you got to win an edge battle, but you get to targeted strike something and probably kill it with the three guns you get. Seems all right. You know,
Doesn't seem bad.
I mean, the set has a twist of fate. I mean, it's a really good set with a twist of fate for the dark side. So that's
Yeah.
a bit of a change. I guess I shouldn't say it's a bit of a change, but I mean, like if you look at the sets that have Twist of Fate on the dark side, not a lot of them have like a really high profile main. And like Council of the Sith doesn't really have a main in it. The Jawas are just the Jawas and Twist of Fate and Utini.
Yeah.
Um, Lucrative contract. I mean, I guess the main in there, is the ship. The what's it called? The five cost thing that gives you three resources, guns and tactics, whatever. But that's not really a main. That's just a five cost unit. And was it Desolation of Hoth is the other one?
Killing Cold.
Or Killing Cold, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's just not been a lot of dark side sets with a main that has a twist.
Darth BS says, "Did it need a proper resource?"
I mean, that's going to be the limiting factor with Thrawn and Tarkin together. But Navy has so many good sets with resources that I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Do you think it'll see Navy play, or do you think it'll be Sith splash?
Um, at that point, the only thing you're splashing it for is Tarkin
Well,
and the
Thrawn.
twist and the twist.
I
Because
mean,
at that point, the Stormtrooper's really bad, right? Because it may only have one icon,
okay,
and you're paying two for a one white gun targeted strike unit is kind of not good.
sure.
Rule by fear, I mean, that's splashable. Twist is splashable, and then the event is splashable. But I mean, like the objective is, you know, not so good. I mean, I could see this in in Sith somehow. It wouldn't surprise me. It gives them a little more control. It allows them probably allows them to fight like either of the Yoda's better because you can just blink Yoda.
Yeah,
Now all of a sudden, if you've got the dial at 8, Echo's Yoda isn't so scary.
sure.
Usually, you just don't even get in front of him at that point. But if you've got Tarkin out, seems okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is you could probably splash this in Sith, but I think it might be. It's probably you're going to get more bang for your buck in Navy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at this with like Executor, Thrawn, and I'll probably look for another set with some resources. You know,
Darth BS says he likes it, but he'd prefer to see aggro Navy back on top.
I mean, maybe this allows you to build something that's like aggro, but still has an element of control to it. You know,
Yeah.
which is kind of where Jedi's at. They're a little more controlled than aggro, but I mean, they have an aggro element to them.
Yeah. Well, so that
I'm
was our
super
timeline on
excited.
it. I think we stayed away from Chewie for kind of obvious reasons. Um, but we're excited for the release. I mean, it's just, when it'll actually come out, who knows? Um,
I mean, there were some other interesting cards that
yeah.
from the card fans like the Empire Strikes Back. It's basically the Devastator's ability on an event.
Mm-hmm.
You've got we see Colonel Yularen. Don't really know what he does. We see a Decimator, which we kind of see some of it, but not a lot of it. Enhanced laser cannon seems okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Lightside gets central computer. That seems interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, drawing a card from the bottom of your deck, and it's a one cost enhancement that gives. It looks like one resource. It's kind of hard to tell. Chewie's kind of covering it, but it looks like a one.
So to recap for the day, I definitely got a little fired up about the Tome software, and maybe I apologize for that. I haven't been affected by it, so I'm more worked up for the people that have been, and I don't like seeing prize support kind of degraded. And we knew the Broken Jedi discussion would be a little heated. But that's just, it's unfortunately the nature of the beast that is the game right now, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having heated and excited conversations about it. We try to always have fun and laugh quite a bit on it, but real quick too, Darth BS says, "Did you see that variant cover art I found?" And I did see it. I actually prefer this.
The Lando.
Yeah, like I mean, and I could be totally wrong, but we have Thrawn's been spoiled for the Rogue Squadron cycle. I feel like it's very hard to believe that Thrawn would pop up in Imperial Entanglements, and I'm suspecting. Well, I guess. Do you think they'll give us Han and Lando? Now that I'm re-looking at that box art, I was like, I
I
don't think
mean,
they'll give us
Jabba.
Thrawn again. But now I'm looking at, it, I'm like, wow, are they really gonna give us Han and Lando?
Jabba wasn't on in Edge of Darkness, but he was on the box.
A Veer seems like it would be super out of place too, but I mean, anything's
I
possible.
mean, it's Navy. He
Yeah.
is Navy.
Yeah, I just meant like that return to Hoth cycle doesn't seem.
Oh, well, I mean, there are walkers on Endor too, although that scene is from Hoth. I do realize that, but
Honestly, I think the reason I'm okay with this is I don't know who did the Thrawn art, but that Lando right there, that's some Tony Foti art, and I love some Tony Foti art. So
yeah, it's usually pretty good art.
yeah, it is. It is. So I'm okay with Lando here. I dig it.
I mean, my whole thing with that, it's not a variant. It's not a variant cover. Why would FFG put this on their website, you know, and then have another like variant cover out there, you know?
Well, no, what he's saying is he must have found like an early developed. When he says variant, I'm sure he just means alternate, or alternative, or however you want to look at it. I don't think there's
Yeah,
two. I
I
don't think
think
there's
it's
going to
just.
be two coves. I'm pretty sure this is obviously the box art, but
I mean, I think that's just fan made. They just wanted to throw Thrawn on there because they thought it
really,
looked cool.
I'd have to look at it again. But I mean, like Lando's cape is pretty wide. I'd be pretty shocked if Thrawn's that wide.
I
But
mean, I don't.
yeah, I
I
have to
don't
go
think
back
it's
and
a
look.
legit. I don't think it's legit.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. It looked legit to me. I didn't really think of it as a fake. I'll have to go back and find it. So anyway, so we're gonna be off next week. We've got Champ David and I will be playing some cards out in Houston, and looking forward to. I haven't seen Champ David since Colorado of last year, since Gen Con, because he skipped out on Worlds. He told me, he sent me this message, and he said, "I hate Emperor Palpatine promos,"
That's why you didn't go to Worlds.
and that's why he didn't go to Worlds. Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah, well, Champ Nooners isn't coming to Houston that I'm aware of. I haven't seen Champ Nooners since Gen Con as well.
Yeah, Nooners finished one place higher than me at Gen Con.
Oh,
I must fix that this year. So
Nooners, just buying some food. Just buy him some food. You'll be just fine.
I won't be eating lunch.
You guys can put some NyQuil and some Jack Daniels in his food too if you really want. Since that seems to be the topic of the chat for a while.
Jo- Josh says he'll buy me lunch. He can buy me lunch after day one is over. I will gladly let him buy me lunch once the day is over. Because
All right,
I played him after lunch at Worlds, and you clearly told me not to eat, and I ignored you, and then I get slept by Josh after lunch. It's
Okay.
like, great.
To set the record straight, I did not just tell you not to eat. I threatened to knock your
Yeah.
food on the floor.
You did. You did. I remember that. It
You sat down. I think it was like a basket of fries, right?
was a hamburger.
Hamburger, and you had some fries there too, though, right?
There might have been some fries. I don't remember.
And I remember I was really like gonna mess with it a little bit, and you sat in such a like commanding way around your food that you gave off this like, I'm eating it, leave me alone.
Don't mess with me when I'm hungry.
All right, everybody. We will be back in hopefully 2 weeks. We'll let you guys know. Look for us online on our Facebook page for the Force, or just check the Twitter account for the Force there as well. TGO, I'm good unless you got anything else you'd like to say, sir.
No, I got nothing as usual.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put up our little fancy intro and outro video, and we'll call it good.
Oh, there's a intro video. I had to watch a commercial.
You didn't watch the intro video?
I didn't get to see it. No.
What? All right. Pay attention to the screen now. I will play our intro video. Will play a couple times as we get everything set up. But outro, we'll just play it once. We'll call it good. Flip, I'm signing off. TGO, you got anything?
Nothing.
All right. Thanks, guys.
I just want to see this video.
Thank you.